Hey, it's Belinda Prine here, and I've got another video in the series all about you, a 360-degree view of you and your wellness. And we are lucky enough to have the one and only Sydney Davis with us. Easy for me to say. And I reached out to Sydney because I know she is so disciplined and on it with her physical health and what she eats and all of that. I was curious to see what the other elements that we're looking at this year were like for her. So, Sydney, thank you for being here with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's such an honor and a privilege to be a
Oh,
guest on your show. Thank you.
you're so welcome. I would just love to hear when you looked at the wheel, what did you notice? And well, what did you learn? Any surprises or not, kind of a thing.
You know, Belinda, I'm a fan of the wheel. I like to use it with my clients
Uh-huh.
too.
Yep.
And so there were no surprises there, as far as just like you said, where I feel strong and confident and
Yep.
very committed. Um, I guess I fell in love with fitness at a young age,
Yeah.
and I like to say I married fitness.
Awesome.
As a young bride, and I never looked back. I've just sort of committed to not letting myself off the hook. I know exercise is a struggle for so many people, and I honestly can't even tell you how I got where I am, but I just don't ever let that go
Mhm.
away in my life. I really circle it, star it, make it happen, whether I'm on vacation, whether I have an injury, whether I'm with family, not with family. It's just a non-negotiable that I do some kind of movement every day, and
Yeah.
it makes me a happier, saner person as a result
Which
of
is a
that,
good thing. Yeah.
which is a great thing. So
Yeah.
that I got. Where I am working on my wheel this year
Hmm.
is in my giving back to others,
Hmm.
um, and in my um I would say spiritual life. Just
Hmm.
kind of what am I doing there?
Hmm.
How am I spending more time with myself? I think in our world today, we can lose ourselves in distractions, and I'm very
Yeah.
guilty of that. So when am I sitting with my own thoughts? When am I journaling? When am I like going deeper beneath the surface
Mm.
and thinking about what really matters? And they're kind of connected, right? Like that
Yep.
idea of giving back and the interconnectedness to other humans and the planet and our earth and all of those things. So when I looked at your wheel, those were kind of screaming, saying, "Hey, can we have
Mhm.
some attention here?" So,
Yeah. Well, you know what I love with those two in particular is giving back is about giving back to others and yourself. So
mhm,
you're focusing giving back to others, right, in that category. And then spiritual, you were like giving yourself more time for you. So, because everybody gets to define spiritual in their own terms, right? It could be a
mhm,
religion, it could just be in nature, it could be meditation, whatever. Um,
mhm,
And so both of them are actually forms of giving back to you, as well as, right? That old saying of, put your own oxygen mask on first before you go running around to others.
yeah.
So, what have you been doing in this area um, to feel more present with it?
Hmm. So I do something at the start of every calendar year called
Mhm.
a year compass, and I
Yep.
have a coaching buddy slash friend who happens to also be a coach, and we really spend a little time in reflection around our goals for the year and the life there. The year in compass sort of gives you a framework how to ask yourself your questions.
Mhm.
And ever since I did that with Carrie 2 years ago,
Yep.
I have been tracking how I'm doing with all of these goals. So
That's cool.
one of my goals, for example, was to read more, but I needed a way to frame that or like make that actionable. So
Mhm.
I thought, it's pretty realistic to try to read a book a month and see how that goes. So that's what I did last year, and that was a goal I pulled through to this year. So
Nice.
sometimes I pick a spiritual development book, but then sometimes, like any of us, I want a good, juicy beach read, like
Yes. You need that too, right? There's
Exactly.
right, yeah, they're both important.
Yeah, so with the spiritual goal, I was better last year. I joined a meditation group and I had a formal practice, and I noticed this year I was like, "Oh, I'll meditate. I'll commit to my practice." And I haven't so much.
Yeah,
So I'm noodling on what will this look like the second half of the year? What will the framework or structure or goal be? And I love the expression, an inch is a cinch, but a yard is hard. So
yeah.
what will my cinch be? Because I won't do the yard. I just need a little
Mhm,
something something. But I find that is the hardest one to chase because I love to move and it's hard to sit still. And not that every meditation needs that, but I am noticing that I take a little, I like, this is a silly example, but maybe not. But even if I did 10 minutes of yoga
mhm,
and extend that time on the mat at the beginning or at the end of yoga,
yeah,
that's just one way I can extend sort of sitting with myself and
yeah.
really, you know, communicating in my way with
Mhm.
the divine, like I like to say, the divine. So
Yeah.
that's one thing that came to mind. And then the give back thing, I also found a goal I set was to give a certain amount of money to a different organization that either asks me for money
Mhm,
or I'll hear a report on something. I heard about our coral reefs dying, so I gave money that month to help the coral reef. So every month I just have a practice of finding an organization or a cause that is mattering to me. And
mhm,
sometimes it's very personal
right.
with friends and family, what they're going through. But I've been doing that. So that's my give back for now.
Well, and the give back is also sharing your story here. One of the things I just really want to highlight is you create structure, right? Which allows you not only to honor the commitments that you've made to yourself, but it gives you more freedom in how you bring that to life.
Mhm.
But you've got the structure there put in place for you to move forward with in that regard. And that is
Yes.
really cool. And that's a takeaway I want our listeners here to walk away with because everybody does try to go for the yard and that
Mhm.
little inch. You know, when you
Yeah.
do that consistently, you've got a lot longer than a yard, right? But
Yep.
if you just try for the yard, you get overwhelmed and it's like, yeah,
Too
not for
much.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love you did the same thing with giving back. I'm going
Yeah.
to do something every month. Yeah.
Yep.
You created a nonprofit, which you now have handed off to somebody else. So you've always been a giver, but I love that you're finding new ways to do that now.
Yeah. I
You know?
am. And
Yeah.
I also believe to give yourself grace, right? I think we're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
All of us. I have a theory that we're all just taking ourselves too seriously. So my other thought here is do what feels right and good and like gives you energy and doesn't take
That's
your
right.
energy. And
That's
I
right.
could spend time, I spent time earlier this year saying, "Oh, I need to give time. I need to volunteer somewhere." And I tried a few little places to volunteer, but I just wasn't feeling it. And I was like, you know what? Right now I'm in a position to give money. So I'm just going to give money.
Yep.
That's going to be what I do for now, for this season of my life, but maybe that'll change. But do what feels like in your flow and true for you.
Yeah.
And that is how
We're
I
having
figured.
mic drop moments come out of Sydney's mouth here. No, truly.
Yeah.
It is go for the flow. That old thing, follow your dreams and the money will follow. Well, let's just worry about you caring for you at this point. And, I'm very intentional now of when I'm in a situation that is giving energy and others that is just sucking me dry.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it's just being present with all of that as well. So I know we keep these videos short. I want to thank you. And any of you that have thoughts or things you want to add to it as well, feel free to do that. But Sydney, you're the best. I really appreciate
Oh, back at you, Belinda. I love everything you do. I'm a big fan. You know it. So
it.
thank you for having me.
But we've got what my father would call a mutual admiration society going on here, and that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
President of each other's fan club.
Yeah, we can do that. We can. All right. Thank you all.
All right.